Good morning. Welcome back to Venture Daily. On today's show, we interviewed the CEO of Medium, the online publishing platform where anyone from amateur writers to professional journalists can share articles, essays, and stories.
And hear firsthand how he helped the company claw its way back from millions of losses and near collapse. I'm Josiah Simons.
I'm Jackson Fordyce. It's Tuesday, July 22nd. Let's get you smarter before your first meeting. Medium nearly collapsed under unsustainable losses, declining content quality, and a demoralized user base. By mid-2022, it was hemorrhaging $2.6 million per month, flooded with low-quality clickbait content, and buried under $37 million in overdue loans and $225 million in investor preferences.
When I took over, Medium was in a tough spot.
CEO Tony Stubblebine took over with a mission to restore quality and financial stability, leading a dramatic turnaround that included cutting costs, revamping incentives for writers, restructuring investor deals, and shrinking staff from 250 people to 77.
I was able to make the pitch that you have no other option. Your only option is shut it down or go with me. Let me try to save it.
By August 2024, Medium became profitable again, recentered on thoughtful, user-generated content, and simplified its tangled, investor-heavy governance structure.
Now the platform is finally on stable footing with a renewed mission and a leaner, more sustainable business model.
And we thought, who better to tell you the story than the CEO of Medium himself, Tony Stubblebine.
Sure, I'm Tony Stubblebine. I'm the second CEO of Medium. Medium is a reading and writing platform, and I guess we're here to talk about a really good inflection point in our history.
For my first question for Tony, you wrote that in 2022, Medium was losing $2.6 million a month and no investor wanted to touch the business. How close were you to shutting it down entirely, and what was the moment that you realized a turnaround was even possible?
Yeah, when I took over, Medium was in a tough spot, and what was so interesting to me as an entrepreneur, like I've been a CEO for maybe 15 years before that, been in startups even before longer than that, is that you don't really see what happens in the worst scenario. And so at that moment in time when like the whole startup ecosystem was crashing and Medium itself was not doing well at all, we learned this lesson that kind of counterintuitively, there was nothing to do but try to save it, because when the investor market shut down, so did the acquisition market. And so you could say logically from a business perspective, we should have just sold ourselves off for parts. That would have been the easiest and best outcome in the moment, but there's no one to sell it to. And I think most companies then maybe would have said, well, we'll just shut down completely. Medium is very lucky, and that has always had some people that were very passionate about making it work, no matter how impractical, and I'm one of those people. And so I was able to make the pitch that you have no other option. Your only option is shut it down or go with me. Let me try to save it. And so that's what we did. We tried to save it. We dug it out of a hole, and we did that for a reason, because we are really optimistic about what we could do if we did get it on solid financial ground.
It's Tony or nothing.
That's right. So for some insight into what Medium was spending so much money on, they were losing $2.6 million a month, which is a ton. So Tony kind of gave us some insight into that. He told us it was a combination of three things. So cloud and hosting costs, mostly AWS, payroll for that sizable staff, which, he helped cut down from 250 to 77. Obviously, that's very hard. He writes in his article here, this was all written here by Tony, how that's a hard decision, but it has to be done to save the company. And then, of course, spending money. They had to spend money to grow their way out, as Tony put it. But the money wasn't the only problem Tony faced. Jackson.
Yeah, that's right. Medium's mission is about deepening understanding, but they were flooded with clickbait and get-rich-quick content. So I asked Tony, how do you actually fix quality? And what do you think other platforms can learn from your boost in featuring strategies?
Yeah, we believe maybe more than anyone else on the internet that, and I think this is a good lesson for all entrepreneurs, is that your business model defines all of your incentives. And so if you are an ad-driven business, your incentives are going to be about attention. And we have enough experience in social media platforms to know that, attention goes wrong. And my predecessor had made this big pivot to base us on a subscription, like one bundled subscription, $5 for all of it, and that all the writers here can share in the revenue of it, and which readers just pay once. And he did that so that our incentives would be aligned. And that was really the start of it. The part that hadn't been done is, okay, now how do you deliver on those incentives? And for us, it came down to inventing a different way to do recommendation systems. It's really easy to base a recommendation system on attention, what gets clicked on, what gets read. But we just added one more signal as we built the whole human curation and human expertise layer that is essentially one of the weights when we do a recommendation, as we say, all right, how much do we think you are going to want this? How much do we think you're going to click on it? That's all traditional machine learning. And then let's weight that based on the human curators in our community. And inside, did they think, hey, this is real, this is high substance? And that's how we were able to flip from clickable but low value content to clickable but high value content.
I also asked Tony, you cut costs, shrank the team from 250 to 77, and still managed to return to profitability. For founders facing similar existential moments, what part of the turnaround playbook do you think matters most?
What I had been told is that a lot of the turnaround is about building confidence in the plan. And this is the thing, the gotcha that took me the longest to understand is, if you're coming into a turnaround situation, it implies that everyone there has experienced failure after failure after failure. And so it's hard not to be perceived as the next failure that they're going to experience. And so a lot of what you have to do is get people on board with, hey, no, this is the one that's going to work. And let me show it to you. Let me demonstrate it to you. And so I found that actually the traditional storytelling, showing is more valuable than telling. And so a lot of what was necessary to get traction is to find allies that already wanted to do the right thing and really empower them, or to bring people into the company that you knew were on board with the new direction, and just move as quickly as possible towards actual wins, because that's the thing that everyone is looking for, is some reality-based evidence that their work is going to matter. Because I think there's kind of this morale hit that has gone on before, and the rest of it, the knowing your numbers and having a plan, that's just basic entrepreneurship. Turnaround's not going to work unless you have a good smart plan, but the plan is worthless unless you can get people on board with it. And that's the thing that I wish I had been better at, and which I think is maybe hardest to see until you're actually in the middle of it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, that is, imagine the pressure that you'd have walking into a room where everyone is expecting disappointment. All they've been is disappointed over and over again.
Another guy to let us down.
Right. And, oh, you got a plan? Sure, I'd love to buy into that plan. Maybe it is a good plan, but all I've seen is failure after failure. Yeah. And so, the morale, mountain you have to climb just to get people on board with, okay, actually maybe I should put some of my heart into believing that this could happen.
Yeah.
I think that probably is. I've never heard that perspective before. That makes a lot of sense.
It kind of helps though if expectations are so low that you can
That's
accomplish
the other side
a little
of that
bit.
coin.
And then people are like, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't that bad.
Yeah, it's almost like you don't have to do that much to prove oh, okay, there's actually one or two successes here. Okay, maybe I'll buy in. But if you're interested in learning more about the details of the Medium's turnaround story, Tony recently wrote an in-depth article. It's titled "Fell in a Hole, Got Out: Medium's Recap, Financial Turnaround, and Difficult Path Back to Health," written by the CEO himself. So this is a pretty blunt explanation of all how it all went down on the website. Yeah. The write-up has received significant praise with over 13,000 claps for its honesty and transparency. Apparently, you can give I don't know if you've used Medium before. You can give 50 up to 50 claps.
Really?
On a post or something like that. Usually, if you give one clap, that means cool. You kind of liked it.
Yeah.
If you give 8 claps, it means something more. I don't know all the details.
Oh,
but
wow.
Yeah.
So you're capped at 50 claps per article or a day?
I think that it's, yes, I think probably per day. I don't actually know. I shouldn't speak on things I don't know, but it's a different way of doing likes, but it's cool. So 13,000 claps. And
we're giving you 13,000 claps here at Venture Daily, Tony.
Yeah. So it's an inside look at how the company escaped a near-death experience, and we've included it in the description below if you want to read it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Check it out. Thank you to Tony Stubblebine for being on Venture Daily today.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's pretty much it for the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we talk about it every day, but please like this, subscribe, comment if you really enjoyed the video, because it helps our show a lot.
100%. And thank you to Content Stack for letting us film here every single day in Austin, Texas. If you like today's show, whether on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, or X, give us a like, a comment, or a review. Throw us a 5-star rating if you think we earned it. And as always, we'll see you here tomorrow morning at Venture Daily.